Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back into Beat the Book. As always, I am your boy, Big Al Better. We've got our NFL Week 13 slate of games for you guys today. Did not have a video last week, meant to have one out there. Got a little sidetracked with just, life, how these things go. Week 12, though, I did write down my picks. I didn't make the parlays for the touchdown or the prop, but I did do the 5 locks. We went 3 of 5. Once again, I'm just a guy on the internet. You don't have to believe me, but that is what it is. So it was a good week for us after a couple tough weeks. The last 5 weeks or so have been kind of a mixed bag. We went 4 of 5, 4 of 5, then 2 of 5, 2 of 5. And this last week that I didn't make a video for, we did go 3 of 5. So we're kind of back a little bit on the train. But anyway, so if you guys are new to the channel, welcome on in. Like I said, my name is Big Al Better. This is Beat the Book. We do NFL, NBA. We do a little NHL, but that's been a little inconsistent lately. Mostly towards the playoffs once NFL's over is kind of when you're going to get more of the NHL stuff. But anyway, for the Sunday slate of games video, the way I kind of do it, I give you guys my 5 locks of the week. Those are our big bets of the week. Those are my favorite bets. It's an over, under, or spread. Those are our locks. And then I give you guys a prop parlay, and I give you guys a touchdown parlay, and then I give you guys a 6-pick teaser. And that's kind of how we do the video. We've been kind of iffy with the teasers. I think we've hit 2 on the whole season. Maybe it's only 1. Has not been a great year for the teasers. So full disclosure, maybe just fade the teasers, do the opposite, and you might be more successful. As far as the props, I bet all these lines singly, but I give them out to you guys as a parlay. So I bet the parlay, and I also bet those all single bets. That ends up being pretty profitable because you can lose the parlay, but if you hit a bunch of the single lines, you can still make money. And then same with the touchdown scores, especially with touchdown scores being some of them are kind of juiced, but you get some really good odds on touchdown scores. So if you can go 3 of 5 on touchdown scores, or 3 of 6, I guess, it's a 50% hit rate, but because some of those odds are plus 200 or plus 300, you can really get some profit there. So anyway, that's how we do it. It's been a pretty good season. Hasn't been as profitable as we would have liked it to be, but it has been, like I said, the locks of the week lately have been a bit of a mixed bag because we had 2 really bad weeks, but other than that, like we had a 4 of 5 week and a 4 of 5. That's an 80% hit rate. That's really, really good. So anyway, without wasting too much of your guys' time, let's go ahead and hop into it. I'm going to give you the locks of the week first. We'll give the touchdown score parlay, the prop parlay, and then the teaser to close it out, and we'll get you guys on your way. So for our first pick of the day, we've got the Bucks Cards. We're going to be on the over 44.5. Obviously, if you guys have been watching the Buccaneers play, they've had some rough weeks against some really good opponents. Their defense is giving up a ton of yards. Defensively against the run, they're really, really good. Against the pass, they're not great. I think they allow the 3rd most passing touchdowns, and they're like the 6th worst pass defense. They allow a ton of yards on you, and that's going to happen. So I like that fact. And then the Cardinals, if you guys have been watching any of their games, Jacoby Brissett's taken over as the quarterback. He's throwing for over 250 every single week. I feel like they're getting in the 20s every single week. And so when you add that together with a desperate Bucks team, you get what should be an over the 44.5. So that's why I really like that one. Next, we got the Dolphins. They're coming off a bye. They're minus 5.5. They're playing the Saints. It feels like a great spot. They're at home against the Saints. They're coming off, I believe, 3 games in a row they've won. It might just be 2, but I think it's 3 games in a row that they've won, and they're coming off the bye. They're rested. The Saints are coming in after that game against they played the Falcons last week. This should be a great spot for the Dolphins. They just have to win by, a little under a touchdown at home. That should not be too big of a deal for them. So I love the Dolphins minus 5.5. Next, we're going to be taking the Seahawks playing the Vikings, right? Vikings have a good defense, right? We know that. But it's the Seahawks who have been absolutely balling out this whole season. They've had a couple tough losses to really good teams. Other than that, they've just handled their business, and they've really shown up against the bad teams that they've had to play. The Vikings are not a bad team, but their record is not that of a good team, if that makes sense. Defense is good, but they allow points. So we're going to be on the over 41.5 on that game as well. We saw Seattle a couple weeks ago. They scored 38 points against, they were playing the Texans, I think. They were playing one of these teams that they were just supposed to beat, and they scored like 38. And it was like, it didn't even matter if the other team showed up at all, really, and you're going to hit the over. So I like the over here, and it's also Sam Darnold revenge game against his old team. I think he's going to absolutely be like, you guys should not have gotten rid of me, and so I think he's going to have a field day. He might throw for 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. And the Vikings' pass defense is a good pass defense, but I still expect just Sam Darnold to ball out. And JSN's been absolutely killing it all season. So give me the over 41.5 with the Seahawks game. Next, we're going to be on the Steelers-Bills game. This is arguably my favorite game of the day as far as just as a fan of football to watch. We get Aaron Rodgers, who should be back, with the Steelers, who are kind of been on a little bit of a struggle right now. And then you're taking on the Bills, who have a 10-day rest because their last game was Thursday night against the Texans, where they lost, right? So I absolutely love this game. I think it should be a really fun one to watch. We're going to be on the over 45.5. If you guys have been watching the channel at all this season, you know I've been really big on the Steelers overs this year. After about week 5, they showed their defense doesn't really stop people, and their lowest scoring week has been 17 points, which means if they're going to get beat, the other team doesn't have to score that many points for you to get over 40 points. This line set at 45.5, so you got to get a little higher than that, but it's the Bills. They're going to score points, and then the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers have been successful in getting to at least 17. So if we got a floor of almost 20 points for the Steelers, then the Bills, if we expect them to get to 26 points, we have our over. So I like that over. And then our final pick is going to be the Panthers-Rams, which is, interestingly enough, that's the first game of the day, at least when I was looking at DraftKings. Panthers-Rams, we're going to be also on the over. Reason being, Rams are on the road at the Panthers. Rams are absolutely balling out of control. Stafford has not thrown less than 2 touchdowns since like week 2 or week 3. So they're going to score at least 14 points based on that. And then when you add into that, Bryce Young, he plays way better at home than he does on the road. I expect them to be able to score on the Rams. The Rams don't keep people from scoring. They just outscore you, and they dominate you. So I like the Rams-Panthers over 44.5. I think we're in line for some points. And like you said, you got the hottest quarterback in the league in Matt Stafford, the MVP candidate. So those are your 5 locks of the week. I'm going to go through them one time. Just, a quick little recap. I'll be able to make a short out of it and throw it out there. But our 5 locks of the week for this week. Buccaneers-Cardinals over 44.5 points. Dolphins spread minus 5.5 at home off a bye. Seattle Seahawks, Minnesota Vikings over 41.5. Love that pick. Steelers-Bills over 45.5. Steelers, lowest scoring game of the year, 17 points. We expect them to get to 20. That means Josh Allen just needs to get to 26, and the Steelers defense has not been good. And then our final pick is Panthers-Rams over 44.5. Panthers at home play better than they do on the road, and the Rams are the hottest team in football. Arguably, if you wanted to argue that, let me know in the comments below, but they're arguably the hottest team in football. So, that's what we like, over 44.5 Panthers-Rams. That is your 5 locks of the week, and I feel great about all of them. So, anyway, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and hop into our touchdown score or parlay here. Let me take a sip. Wet the old whistle, if you will. For our touchdown score parlay, this thing got crazy on me. I was not trying to pick. I go through and I check players' stats. I check the defenses they're playing against. I check how good their offense has been, yada, yada. You get it. We do some research. This thing got to a plus 23,000 really, really fast. So $10 would be $2,000. That was unintentional. That just simply happened because a lot of these picks are plus money. So take that and do what you want with it. If you want to fade it, you can fade it. That's fine. You can't really fade a touchdown score parlay, but whatever. Our first one's going to be Davante Adams for the Rams, minus 150. He's scored touchdowns, I think, 4 straight games. He's clearly the red zone guy. As soon as Stafford gets in there, he just hike, and he knows he's going to beat him, and he's going to throw the ball. Panthers also play a lot of zone, so that should feed into what Davante's able to do. Next, we got our second game. We're going to take Bucky Irving. He's back from injury for the Bucs, right? He's taking on the Cardinals, who have been pretty bad against the run. He's plus 175 to score a touchdown. I absolutely love it. We're going to take Bucky Irving. Next, we got Darren Waller coming back from injury for the Dolphins. In his 4 games that he played before he got hurt with the Dolphins, he scored in 3 of the 4 games. He probably would have scored in that 4th game if he had not got hurt. So he's been absolutely just the guy in the red zone. He's going to get open, I think. He's plus 200. Then we got Kenneth Walker for the Seattle Seahawks. They're playing against the Vikings. The Vikings have been great against the pass, not so good against the run. So Kenneth Walker should be able to do some damage. Charbonnet is the favorite in that game to score a touchdown, but I like fading kind of the favorite in Charbonnet, even though I don't think he's the favorite, taking Kenneth Walker, and then we just trust him to get in the end zone. He's plus 125. Charbonnet was minus 110, so if you wanted to flip-flop that, you could. Then we got Keenan Allen at plus 215. Guys, Keenan Allen, first 3 weeks of the year, first 4 weeks of the year, he scored a touchdown every single game. Then he had 3 games without, and then he had 3 games with. And ever since, he has not scored a touchdown. So we're really just playing the fact he hasn't scored in a long time. Chargers are coming off a bye. I absolutely love it. They're playing the Raiders. The Raiders suck against the pass. So this should be a great spot for Keenan Allen to get open and get in the end zone. He's also plus 215 because of how long it's been since he scored a touchdown. And then our final pick is going to be Jaylen Warren for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you guys have been watching the channel at all, I've been telling you guys for weeks, the Bills are one of the worst run defenses in the entire league. I think they're 2nd worst, maybe 3rd worst. So we get Jaylen Warren, the lead back. He carried it 18 times 2 weeks ago, last week, whatever it was. Actually, last 2 weeks, he's carried it 18 times. Plus 140 for a touchdown, Jaylen Warren. I love it against the Bills, who've given up, I think it's 17 rushing touchdowns on the ground. So they let you get in the end zone, and Jaylen Warren should absolutely eat against these guys. So just to recap that is a touchdown score parlay. That's all 6 picks. Plays out plus 23,288. It's Davante Adams, Bucky Irving, Darren Waller, Kenneth Walker, Keenan Allen, and Jaylen Warren. All 6 of those guys together pay out plus 23,288. All but the only minus money guy in there is Devontae Adams. Everybody else is plus money, but I feel great about all of them. And that is your touchdown score parlay. Moving on, we'll go to the prop parlay. This one pays out much lower, but also I think has a higher chance of hitting because touchdowns are kind of iffy, right? If you guys bet sports at all, you know touchdowns, they're not consistent enough to like bet every single week. But anyway, we got a prop parlay. This thing pays out plus 2,200, not 22,000 like the other one does. So, $10 wins you $220, which is still a good return on your investment. If we can hit, like I said, I also bet all these lines straight up. Most of these are guys' lines. We're just taking over and unders. But here we go. We got Jaylen Warren over his line of 61.5 rushing yards. He's done this in 3 straight games, so we're just playing for him to go for the 4th, and he happens to be playing against the Bills, who once again have one of the worst run defenses in the entire league. So that feels like a slam dunk spot. He might get this, and he might have 2 carries for 30 yards, and he's knocking on the door, and then you're right there. Next, we're going to take Cam Ward over his line of 201.5 passing yards. He's playing against the 22nd worst pass defense in the league. And he's done this in 6 of his 10 games, or 6 of his 11 games. So he's done it in over half of his games, and he's playing a really bad team against the pass. He just threw for 260 against Seattle, who Seattle has a much better defense. So I love Cam Ward here against the Jags to throw for 201.5. Next, we're taking Matt Stafford for 2 touchdowns. Like I said, he has not done this. He has not thrown for less than 2 touchdowns since I think it was week 2 or 3. He threw 1 touchdown. Other than that, he's thrown for 2, 3, or 4 in all his games. Next, we're taking JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigga. He leads the entire league in receiving yards. His line's set at 97.5. He's gone for this in, I was looking it up the other day. He had 6 or 7 games where he's gone over 90, and he's had a bunch of games where he's, 3 or 4 of those he's gone over the 100. So we're just taking him over his line. He also happens to be playing against the Vikings, who, like I said, they have a good defense. So it's not going to be easy, but it's a Sam Darnold revenge game. So I absolutely love it. Next, we're going to be on Jacoby Brissett over 262.5 passing yards. His last 5 games, he's gone over 250. And in three of those 5, he's gone over to the 260 number. He also has a matchup against a team that allows you to throw the ball a lot. So I really, really love it. And then our final pick is going to be Keenan Allen, 4+ receptions. He's done this in all but 2 games, and they're playing the Raiders, who are not a good team. So I absolutely love that. Those are our 6 picks. I'm going to run through those once again. This prop parlay pays out plus 2288 over on DraftKings right now. That's Jaylen Warren over his line of 62 rushing yards. Cam Ward over his line of 201.5 passing yards. Matt Stafford over 2 touchdowns. Jackson Smith and Jigba over 97.5 receiving yards. Jacoby Brissett over 262.5 passing yards. And then Keenan Allen, 4+ receptions. Like I said, in all but 2 games, Keenan Allen's done this. So we play the trend, we play that percentage, and we hopefully cash this bet. That's what I like right there. And then for our final leg in here, we've got our teaser. It's a 6 points. So in whichever direction you guys want, if you're not familiar with teasers, you add in all your over/under spread picks. You get 6 points in your direction, and it's a 6 pick. It pays out plus 5 to 600 depending on the book you shop. The way I do it, I take my 5 locks, and then I add in one other pick that I didn't love enough to add in as a lock, right? So for this one, we're going to go through those same ones we had. We got the Buccaneers and Cardinals game. That's teased from an over 44.5 to an over 38.5. We're going to be on the Dolphins plus a half point instead of the minus 5.5. We're going to be on the Vikings Seahawks over 35.5 instead of over 41.5. It's teased down. Then we're going to be on the Bills Steelers over 39.5 instead of over 45.5. We bring that number down. They just got to get to 40. I love that. And then Panthers Rams, we tease from an over 44.5 to a over 38.5. And then for our final pick, the one I didn't really, didn't want to take it straight up, but it feels good. We're going to tease the Browns from a plus 5.5 at home against the Niners to a plus 11.5. And it feels absolutely good. We get almost 12 points with one of the best defenses in the league against a Niners team that's good. Not dissing the Niners at all, but we get almost 12 points with a home team against the Niners with, it's going to be cold there, bad weather, California team. That feels super good. So anyway, to run through the teaser for you guys one last time, we got the Rams-Panthers teased to an over 38.5. We got the Browns teased from a plus 5.5 to a plus 11.5. We got Cardinals Buccaneers teased from an over 44.5 to an over 38.5. We've got the Dolphins teased from a minus 5.5 to a plus half point. We've got the Vikings Seahawks teased from an over 41.5 down to a over 35.5. And our final line is Bills Steelers teased from an over 45.5 down to an over 39.5. That is your 6-pick, 6-point teaser. I feel great about it. Really hoping this one hits for us. Like I said, we only hit 1 or 2 on the season, so this would be a nice one to cash. Anyway, that is all I got for you guys in this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Hopefully you guys found some value there. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys are rocking with. If you guys like some lines that I didn't see. But that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe if you have not, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.